Picture this: a boy walking his dog in his own neighborhood. It's a normal day until things take a tragic turn. Police officers arrive, and moments later, shots are fired, leaving his loyal German shepherd lying on the ground. But what happens next? That's where this story takes a turn no one saw coming. Because this boy's father isn't just any father. He's an FBI agent, and the events that follow will leave you stunned. This isn't just a story about a boy and his dog. It's a story about accountability, justice, and standing up against a system that too often gets it wrong. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment with your thoughts on this shocking case. Now, let's get into it. It was a sunny afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood. 12-year-old Malik Johnson had just finished his homework and decided to take his German shepherd, Max, for a walk. Max wasn't just a pet. He was Malik's best friend, a constant companion since he was a pup. The two of them were inseparable, roaming the neighborhood together, always drawing smiles from neighbors who knew them well. But on this particular day, their routine stroll was interrupted by something that would change their lives forever. As Malik and Max turned a corner near the park, a police car rolled up behind them. Malik didn't think much of it. He wasn't doing anything wrong, just walking his dog. But the officers inside the car seemed to see something different. The officers, responding to a vague report about suspicious activity, pulled up alongside Malik. They rolled down the window and barked an order, "Stop right there." Confused, Malik stopped walking and held Max's leash tightly. "Is there a problem?" he asked, his voice steady but nervous. The officers got out of the car, their hands resting on their holsters. One of them pointed to Max. "Control your dog," he yelled. Max, sensing the tension, stood protectively in front of Malik, barking softly. He wasn't aggressive, just alert, as any loyal dog would be in such a situation. But what happened next was both shocking and heartbreaking. Without warning, one of the officers pulled his gun and fired. The shot echoed through the neighborhood, and Max collapsed to the ground. Malik screamed, dropping to his knees beside his dog. "What did you do?" he cried, tears streaming down his face. Neighbors began to gather, some pulling out their phones to record the scene. The officers, instead of offering an explanation or assistance, began questioning Malik. "What are you doing in this neighborhood? Where are your parents?" one officer demanded, as if Malik didn't belong in the very streets he called home. What they didn't know was that Malik's father, James Johnson, was not just any parent. He was a senior FBI agent, well-versed in both the law and the accountability that law enforcement should uphold. And at that very moment, he was just a few blocks away, arriving home from work. Hearing the commotion, James rushed to the scene. He froze for a moment as he saw his son kneeling over Max, surrounded by officers and neighbors. The grief and anger in his son's eyes spoke volumes. James walked straight up to the officers, his badge in hand. "What happened here?" he demanded, his voice calm but filled with authority. The officers, visibly startled by James' presence and credentials, stammered through an explanation. The dog was acting aggressively, one of them claimed, avoiding James' piercing gaze. James knelt beside Malik, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "I'm here now, son," he said quietly before turning back to the officers. "Do you realize what you've done?" James asked, his tone unyielding. "This was an innocent boy walking his dog, and you shot the dog without cause. You traumatized my son, and you're about to answer for it." What followed was a series of events that turned the spotlight on the officers and their actions. James immediately contacted his colleagues at the FBI and demanded a full investigation. Within hours, the officer's body cam footage was reviewed, and the truth became undeniable. Max hadn't been a threat. The shooting was unjustified, and the officer's behavior was reckless. As the investigation unfolded, the story gained national attention. News outlets covered the incident, sparking outrage and calls for accountability. Malik's story became a symbol of the systemic issues within law enforcement, and James used his platform to advocate for change. In the weeks that followed, The officers involved were suspended, and disciplinary actions were taken. But for Malik, the loss of Max was a wound that couldn't be healed by justice alone. His father, however, ensured that Malik's voice was heard, and together, they turned their pain into a mission to prevent similar incidents from happening to others. This story isn't just about a family's loss. It's about the importance of standing up for what's right, holding those in power accountable, and ensuring that justice is more than just a word. Malik and James remind us that even in the face of tragedy, strength and resilience can lead to meaningful change. What would you have done if you were in James' shoes? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss powerful stories like this. Thank you for watching. Remember, every voice matters, and every action counts when it comes to justice